Welcome back, and the ICP whales made me do it. Yes, the internet computer whales are showing a bearish divergence, and they're not only showing this, but the indicators in the market are telling us that there is a bearish sentiment and a bearish divergence in the ICP narrative and ecosystem. In today's video, we're going to be exploring why I sold my ICP, why I'm out, and why the whales in their own activity on chain are showing us that it's bearish. This is the Cryptoviser podcast. As you guys know, we upload every single day to bring you the latest happening in the financial world. These are my opinions and my analysis on the market. You can disagree with it. I'm not telling you what to do in your portfolio. I'm only letting you know what my opinions are and what I'm doing in my portfolio. Give the video a free thumbs up. That way you never miss a new video. And also hit the subscribe button. Thumbs up are free. Obviously, ICP is not, although it's very close to free. Now, here's the deal, guys. The technology of internet computer is outstanding. It's really the only network that we have seen with the ability to run AI models, to run the programs that these AI models create. But the whole idea behind, a bull market is that you have to see sustained growth and not just focus on one individual thing. We've seen this happening with many different cryptos. In the previous cycle, we talked a lot about Cardano. And what did Cardano have? Well, it was the staking cycle for pretty much all of crypto. I mean, if you guys really understand how Cardano launched their staking mechanism, Cardano was the first major blockchain in the top 10, top 20 that launched a staking mechanism with liquid staking where you can pull your coins out at any time, that you'll earn rewards. Now, there was a lot of excitement about that, but that was a sole focus of the Cardano blockchain in the 2021 cycle. And we were all expecting smart contracts to deploy, and then the capabilities of smart contracts deployed at the end of the cycle, but no actual smart contracts, no actual DEXs until many months later, which made me wonder, what the F were they doing? Were they only focused on this one thing, which was staking? And the answer was yes. Now, we're many years later, and Cardano's staking, we actually saw an exiting of staking into the bear market, and it has not recovered, right? In the last bull market, we had over 70% of the entire ADA supply staked. And when I'm recording this video, it's 57, which is a 13% decrease, and that's about 2.6 billion ADA that exited staking and never returned. And that brings us to this cycle with internet computer, because the 2025 cycle, and really 2024 into 2025 cycle, was the cycle for ICP. And don't get it twisted, guys. Internet computer did perform from 2023 when we called on this channel the bottom of the market. I made videos. You can go look at my videos on this channel. In the bottom, in 2023, in September, we called the bottom of the market. You could see that right here. The bottom was this $2.90 range. Now, that's not the macro bottom forever, potentially. That was the multi-year macro bottom for internet computer. And I identified that we were probably rotating into a bull market. And sure enough, we did. We went from basically about $3 to almost $30. It was basically an 8 or 9x, right? 8 or 900% in just a few months. And we saw a lot of the technology and a lot of the narrative, not just with internet computer, but with crypto in general and the AI space and high power compute space really starting to pick up. And then we had Dominic, the founder of ICP, demo for the world some very basic large language model capabilities that appeared to be running on ICP. And it seemed, based on what my research has been on this channel, and again, these are just my opinions and my analysis. You can disagree, you can have a different opinion. That is totally fine. I'm just sharing with you my views are, right? And it seemed from 2024 into 2025 that the Dfinity team and internet computer developers were really pinpoint focused on developing AI capabilities. We saw a major update and upgrade to the entire ICP network, with jurisdiction-specific nodes being launched in areas like Europe and the United States and things like that. We also saw massive moves in certain metrics on the internet computer's ecosystem, like transaction throughput, which at one point surpassed and maintained over 10,000 transactions per second, which is more than double the speed and double the transaction bandwidth capabilities of Solana, which is the fastest blockchain when we're talking about transactions per second, generally speaking. Now, Internet Computer has come down since then, but it's still in the top. When you're looking at all the blockchains and their throughput capabilities, it's still in the top 5, I would say, and potentially at certain points in time in the top 1. But you can see that it's significantly settled down. And a lot of the focus and the attention of the ICP ecosystem, the community, the developers, it seemed to be developing this AI capabilities that could run on chain or compute on chain. And then we were introduced to Caffeine AI, which is basically a private product. It's an AI model that is not running on Internet Computer. It deploys what it creates. It's called vibe coding onto the Internet Computer. But was this the big technology that would change the world and change ICP? Well, let's get into that. Now, I've expressed my viewpoints throughout this entire journey of ICP, and I went very heavy on these videos in my investments, in my research, in my understanding of what ICP was creating. But then we had the first launch of Caffeine AI, which got a lot of attention globally from some big players. We even had banks. You can go look at my videos. Banks will use ICP. They were there, and they were trying to understand what Dfinity was building, what ICP was creating. But then there was one big hit. And the big hit for me was finding out that Caffeine AI was not actually running on ICP. It was not running, and from when I'm recording this video, from my understanding, it's still not running on the Internet Computer Network, which I think is a huge miss. It seems like the network could potentially host Caffeine AI's large language model. Why it's not doing that, I still don't know. That was the first hit for me, which I was like, seems kind of odd. Then we had multiple launches of this technology. We had the June launch of Caffeine AI. Then we had a July launch of a beta version of Caffeine AI. And then October was the third launch. And by the October launch, which is the public release of Caffeine AI, there was basically, besides the ICP whales and developers and maximalists, there was almost no excitement about it, no interest. And again, this goes with the whole crypto space of making announcements of announcements of announcements of announcements. And by the time you get to the actual announcement, everything's already priced in and nobody really cares. That is a huge problem. Now, let's be clear. The technology of the network has not changed. I am still bullish on the technology of the network. But at the end stages of a bull cycle in Bitcoin and crypto in general, when there's no actual next big thing, interest starts to wane. The price movement starts to wane, and your ability to make money starts to wane. Now, to be very clear, we also have to keep in mind that Caffeine AI is a private product. It is not owned by you. It is not partially owned by you. Any profits that Caffeine AI makes doesn't go into your pocket as an ICP holder. This is a private product built by, I don't know, Dfinity founder. We don't really know who's making the money from it and where the money goes and all of that. But I don't think it really even matters, right? The point is, can Caffeine AI scale when there are other vibe coding products out there that are not necessarily running on public networks, that have a lot more usage from institutional type investors like Amazon Web Service, Google Cloud, things like that, to really drive ICP home? And one of my big critiques and concerns in September, October of 2025 has been that ICP ecosystem, the holders and the whales, seem to be putting all their eggs in this caffeine AI basket without really understanding the full scope of what caffeine AI is, how they're monetizing it, and how it's going to actually impact the network. People say, but Cryptoviser, if people use caffeine AI and develop apps and they're hosted on the Internet Computer Protocol, that's going to increase the usage of the network and therefore the usage of the coin and therefore the price of the network. Yes and no. I mean, we don't know that this is actually going to occur. We don't know that, I mean, it has to scale to a very, very large degree, and it should have been hosted on the Internet Computer to begin with, in my view. And number two, the actual Dfinity team putting all their eggs just in this caffeine AI basket, which is not living on the Internet Computer, which does not have direct impact on the Internet Computer and the Internet Computer ecosystem. I mean, there's literally maximalists, these whales that own ICP, that have their whole portfolio in ICP, and they don't even, and they're cheering on caffeine AI and promoting it, and it has no impact on your coins. It's the same thing like MicroStrategy bulls are cheering on their debt facilities and their purchases of Bitcoin, even though they continue to get diluted because they continue to sell shares in the open market. It doesn't make sense. This is not sound investing, in my view. And so for many of these reasons, I started to question whether my investment in ICP was a good one, right? Not every investment is a good investment, right? Not every investment turns out to be a profitable investment. That's just the way things work. And then we started to see this. Exchange reserves fall as price rallies 45%. Internet Computer rallied from $2.90 to $4.20 over the past days, while exchange reserves declined by over 2 million coins, from 57 million to 55 million. The drop in reserves alongside rising price suggests buy-side absorption and potential accumulation pressures as traders move tokens off exchanges amid renewed market momentum. Well, I don't necessarily agree with this, right? Number one, I started offloading ICP coins before the October flash crash that we saw in all of crypto, which you can see on this chart right here. And this flash crash brought ICP under $2. Then I started to question, whoa, maybe I should be offloading all my ICP. Because here's the deal, guys. This idea that coins exiting exchanges is bullish and shows accumulation. Whenever you sell a coin, somebody's buying. Whenever you buy a coin, somebody is selling. So if you're a buyer, that means somebody's selling. So you're saying, well, I'm bullish because I'm buying, but you could also say somebody's bearish because they're selling. And the same thing occurs here. Just because coins are leaving exchange doesn't necessarily mean it's bullish. Yes, coins are leaving the exchange, but why are they leaving the exchange? Well, if we look at the staking mechanism right here, you can see that over the last few months in ICP, we have seen just in the last 3 months, the total staked was 232 million to 240 million, which most of the increase in the long-term staking. So effectively, we had about an 8 million coin increase in the staking mechanism, which to me is whales. To me, it's developers. To me, it's insiders or maximalists in this ecosystem. And that is not necessarily bullish, because that means that the whales are absorbing what people like myself and probably many of you are selling. And now the bulls are going to get in the comments and say, well, Cryptoviser, you're just a fraudster. Whatever. Whatever. I'm not telling you what to do in your portfolio. I'm telling you what my analysis is. You can disagree with it, and you'll probably be wrong, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what the metrics show. You can see this. Coins are leaving exchanges because they're going into the staking mechanism. People staking their coins for 8 to 10 years is not bullish. This is not showing that there's mass adoption of the coin or mass accumulation of the coin or that institutional interest or even everyday retail investor interest is increasing. To me, this shows whales are buying, whales are absorbing, developers are absorbing, and users or maximalists of the network are absorbing the liquidity that is being put onto exchanges and then taking it, buying it, and saying, well, Cryptoviser, I'm buying the bottom. How do you know that's the bottom? We had a flash crash to $2, right? That's half of where we are when I'm recording this video, and basically half where we've ever been. And you're saying that $4 is the bottom of the market, we can still go down 90% from here, especially that there's no next big thing for internet computer. If there is, let me know in the comments. What is next? If you say a large language model, we already have that. Buy the rumor, sell the news. What else is next? What has Dfinity have been focusing or working on to grow the adoption of the network? And if I'm missing something, maybe I'm missing something. But again, this is not just specific to internet computer. It's a lot of different ecosystems. They put all their eggs in one basket. They focus on one specific thing. And then for a while it works. But again, buy the rumor, sell the news. You had 3 opportunities, 3 launches of Caffeine AI to buy into the coin, and you're buying on the 3rd launch when there's less and less interest and the coin is down, even just from the July timeframe when Caffeine AI first launched. It was at $6.50 and now we're at $4. That's a 35% decrease in just 3 months. And the flash crash brought it down 70%. And people are saying, well, we're at the bottom, we're at the bottom. Well, based on what? What is going to maintain this level? The whales buying the market? I don't want to be in a coin that is highly concentrated. And again, what we saw with Cardano was the coins that exited staking never re-entered. Now, at the time, it was bearish because it was all exiting at the same time. But then in the bull market, it was the new baseline. And this is why Cardano went from 25 cents to $1 during the 2025 cycle, because staking wasn't really the focus. Now, if we saw this staking number continuing to rise, I would say the same thing about Cardano. I would say, well, this is just whales buying. But the whales aren't even buying Cardano anymore, right? Because if the whales were buying, they would stake it. They're not buying because they're probably buying Solana, because staking Solana, you get a higher yield than you do with Cardano or with Ethereum, right? And so this idea that the whales are buying is nonsense. The same way that if Caffeine AI was getting mass adoption, they would release information about this network. We don't have any metrics. I cannot invest in a product that I'm not going to get metrics. Imagine investing in a stock where they just don't have any quarterly results anymore or any annual results. They just don't tell you how much they're making, how much they're spending, all of that. They're just not explaining that anymore. If that happened, right, if it was allowed to happen, people would sell the stock instantly, because you want to know the metrics, and we don't have any metrics to date. More than 3 or 4 months after the first launch of Caffeine AI, we still don't have metrics on Caffeine AI, on the usage, on how many people are creating actual dApps, on how many businesses, how many paid subscribers. And the obvious reason is because probably the paid subscribers is so minimal. It's probably under 1,000 users, probably under 100 users. I mean, there are so many other vibe coding apps that you don't have to pay for. There's going to be people in the comments that say, but Cryptoviser, if you sign up today, you can get free credits. It's like, you're missing the fucking point. You're missing the point, right? It's not investable. It was investable, and a lot of people made a lot of money in internet computer. But I remind you, Caffeine AI is not the internet computer. It's not on the internet computer, and it's not owned by you as an ICP holder. And that is a huge, huge risk factor in my view. And then we saw this, right? New projects on Sui. While others chase the next Solana, Sui continues to build, attracting world-class builders and projects, shaping the future of DeFi, AI, and on-chain innovation. Now, in the October Sui post, they say the new projects on Sui include Caffeine AI. But again, that does not mean that Internet Computer is on Sui. And by the way, in fact, Internet Computer does not even have actual interconnectivity with not only Sui, but many other chains that we talk about on this channel. I mean, think about that. Caffeine AI is on Sui before Internet Computer is interoperated with Sui. There's no connectivity. There's no native stablecoins. Okay, people are going to say, but chain fusion capabilities. Go watch my other videos, because we're not going through that again on today's video. Chain key technology is a good capability to have, but you still need bridges to Ethereum. You still need native stablecoins. And the fact for me, for my investment portfolio, the fact that Dfinity has been pinpoint focused on caffeine AI, which is not built on ICP, and they're literally promoting this. The founder is promoting that SWI is interoperating or adding caffeine AI. It's like, what about ICP? What about ICP? It's not even like you have to pay for caffeine AI with ICP coins, right? There's no connectivity. This is the same thing like Ripple and XRP. Ripple is different than XRP. Caffeine AI is different than ICP. And so from an investability standpoint, this is a problem, right? In interconnectivity or interchain communication, right? That's a problem. From the fact that it's not even built on or living on the internet computer network directly is a problem. The fact that the community is cheering on saying, oh my God, the whales are accumulating. This is so bullish. It's like, no, it's bearish. The bulls are accumulating because if they weren't accumulating, the price would be even lower than it is today. So again, I am not bearish on the technology, and I am not long-term necessarily bearish on ICP. But Dfinity and the developers definitely need to broaden their focus. They definitely need to add some of these technologies. In my view, if they wanted native stablecoins like Tether or USDC, they would already have it. It's not there. It doesn't even seem to be part of their actual roadmap that they're trying to get to. And if I'm missing something, that's not my fault. That's their fault for not getting it done, right? Or clearly making it say like, we're going to get on SWI, we're going to get interconnectivity with SWI. But instead, we have Caffeine AI builds apps on the internet computer, but that you can interoperate with the SWI token. So Caffeine AI, which is not even built on ICP, has interoperability with SWI when ICP has no interoperability with SWI. That to me does not make sense. And to me, especially at the end stages of a bull cycle, it's bearish. It's very bearish. And the whales are telling you that. They're accumulating and then throwing their coins into the staking mechanism. And the insiders are like, wow, this is great. Our staking is increasing. The whales are increasing. Yeah, but it's increasing because others are dumping the coin. And why are they dumping the coin? Probably for many of the reasons that I'm talking about, because anybody who does a little bit of understanding here of how this played out understands. End of cycle, if you have nothing else, you just keep releasing Caffeine AI 3 times. That tells me there's nothing else. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Three times to sell that news. And many of you are buying it, saying it's the bottom, even though the flash crashed 50% drop. Now, of course, the bulls are going to say, but Cryptoviser, it recovered right after. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. We're still lower than we were in July. We're lower than where we were last year. And Caffeine AI is launched. Caffeine AI is on SWI. The whales are accumulating, and the price keeps dropping. Well, for me, there were way better investments out there. There are better investments out there. And the way that we talk about investing on this channel is, you're only as good as your last win in the markets. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. It matters what the market thinks. And clearly the market is bearish, because if it was bullish, the price would be higher. The price would have gone higher, but it didn't. It bought the rumor of Caffeine AI and sold the news on Caffeine AI and continues to do so. And so what is next? What is the next catalyst for pushing the price higher? It's not whales accumulating. It's not integration of Caffeine AI on other platforms. It's development and usage of the technology. In my view, some things that they could be doing to really pump this up is, one, following what the Bitcoin mining companies that pivoted to AI are doing. I mean, effectively, the ICP network is a decentralized data center. So why are they not focusing on getting some big contracts to integrate some level of decentralization so that we don't have Amazon Web Service outages like we've seen recently? We don't have Google Cloud outages like we've seen recently. I mean, I feel like the network has upgraded to a degree that they could do that, and that they could get, I would imagine the data centers here are using energy. And so if they're using energy, well, that's what these AI companies are looking for. I mean, this data center right here is called Hurricane Electric, and it's in the United States. So that's kind of the big disconnect that I see. And I hope that they're able to get through this and figure it out, because caffeine AI is not going, I mean, it's proven already. It's not going to push the price higher. It's not going to increase usage of the network. There's too much competition out there. And so if they don't pivot, we're going to see a continued decline, especially in a bear market. And by the way, Internet Computer is one of the only top 50 cryptos that is the worst performing in the sector. I mean, it's down 50% on the year, and almost no other coin is down 50% on the year. You can see that right here, 48% on the 1 year. If we pull up year to date, I don't know if this is going to do it. Yeah, it doesn't do it correctly on coin market cap. But you can see even on the month, it's down 11%. And Caffeine AI launched. Caffeine AI launched in the middle of the month. Flash crash brought it down, and it's been down since. So I want to know what you guys think. I mean, maybe I'm missing something here, but I don't think that I am. And even if I am, it doesn't matter. My viewpoint on this investment is my viewpoint on this investment. You could disagree with it. You could think that, you know, I've even seen comments like Cryptoviser is going to have to buy back at higher prices. It's like, you're assuming I'm going to buy back into this investment. Every investment that I make is an individual investment. When I exit an investment, I move on. Right? Will I come back to the investment? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, since I've sold Cardano, I don't think I got back in. Maybe I got back in for a quick trade, but that was it. Once I exited ICP, what is going to make me get back in? Not higher prices. It's going to be actual technological integration, actual development of deals with some large AI companies where they're either going to use the technology that ICP has or integrate their technology in the network that ICP has. But that's not what we've seen so far. And it's very disappointing because I spent a lot of time and a lot of energy focusing on my research and my investments on ICP. And yes, I sold at a loss, but sometimes it's better selling at a loss than selling at a mega loss. I mean, we've seen it with the Bitcoin treasury companies. Nakamoto is down 97% since they started buying Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin price has barely dropped. And so if you invested in Nakamoto, you could say, well, it's going to go up from here, but it could still go down, and you're down 97%. Why not rotate that money into something that's going to perform? Because the companies that did pivot to these AI data center narratives, like Iris Energy, Bitfarms, Cypher Mining, TerraWolf, they're all doing 10, 20, 30x, 40x, 50x since the 2023 bottom that most of the coins and most of the stocks hit, including ICP. You know, we talked about this earlier. ICP bottomed out in September of 2023. And so if it followed that same track that these other, data center companies did, maybe ICP would be up 40x from $2 or $3. I think it was like $250 or $290. Let's say $290. If it did 40x from there, it would be at $116. But we're basically where we were at that bottom. And people are saying, well, Cryptoviser, we were at the bottom then, we're going to be at the bottom again. No, we haven't bottomed out yet because we're still downtrending. And the whales are telling us this. The whale accumulation is telling us. The whales putting their coins in staking is telling us that it's not new investors. These are legacy investors absorbing all the selling. And if they weren't around to absorb the selling, we would be much lower. And potentially that's what the flash crash warned about. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think that I'm off base. Obviously, the ICP maximalists will say, Cryptoviser, you're just fudding. But we don't FUD. We just talk about the data and facts on this channel. And in my view, at this point, I had to exit my position because I don't see any pathway to higher prices in the medium term, which is in the next year or so. With that, I'll see you guys on the next one. As always, crypto on.